Hey, Jenny here, Hedonist Artisan Chocolates and Ice Cream. This is part of my Paleo 21-day body transformation exercise. Is asked today, a challenge was to create a new recipe, and so here I am. This just happens to be my kitchen where I make chocolate and ice cream, and I thought I'd come in this Saturday and play around with some Paleo pops, I'm going to call it. We tried making this recipe in our ice cream machine, and it has a lot of soluble fats. It makes it difficult to spin out, and I thought, well, why don't we make Paleo pops? That way I can show you how to make them at home, and then you can have them in your freezer if you'd like. So we're starting with 2 cans of organic coconut milk. It has the fat. You can kind of see it plunk out of there. This one, watch out. So you can see how much fat is in there when it even come out of the can. Whoa. So I want to get all that out. It smells great. So I'm keeping it on this scale, but basically you want to have 2 cans, 2 parts coconut milk to 1 part hazelnut. This is roasted pureed hazelnuts. It's basically this, but has been roasted and then pureed. And that's what that is, and I warmed it up a little bit so it can move around. And I want to have 1/3 coconut, so I'm just going to use this can as a measurement and see how I'm doing here in case you have a bunch at home. I just happen to know it is that, but you can see how that works, and then I won't be wasting coconut out of there. Just goes right in there. And these hazelnuts are expensive, so I don't want to waste any of the hazelnut puree or drop a hazelnut on the ground, because those filberts cost extra. Alright, save that for something else. And then, the next thing we do, bring the bowl down, we're going to use some really good chocolate. This is 100% cacao. It's a Valrhona. It's really the best you can get. I just happen to have a big bucket lying around all the time. But I'm going to take 1/3 of a cup of that. And this is unsweetened. There's no sugar in it. So far we have no sugar. It's just coconut milk, hazelnuts, and chocolate, pure chocolate. So we're mixing this up. We want it to get all mixed together and emulsified. Right now I smell mostly chocolate. This chocolate is so very powerful. It really screams bittersweet. It doesn't have any sugar, but it has a sweetness that is just given to it by the fermentation process of the cocoa bean. So it's like these fruity things. Now in here I can see some coconut hard parts, so I'm just trying to work those out. I'm not really worried about over whipping this. There's no heat. This is all just one temperature. Maybe the hazelnut puree I warmed it up a little bit so I could emulsify it, because when you make hazelnuts and you roast them and then you puree them and make your hazelnut butter out of it, it will separate when it sits, just like a good peanut butter or any other kind of butter. Okay, so that's looking good. Now I'm going to add some coconut, and I'm going to add about 1 cup, and I'm just doing it this way because I don't really care how much of it. We are doing pop, so we're just doing a little bit of texture in there and folding that in. Now I'm going to add a little bit of sea salt. And I just learned recently that the most valuable mineral value kind of sea salt comes from older oceans. So Himalayan sea salt has more mineral value in it than newer oceans. So I just got this handy dandy thing for home. Don't have this kind of salt here in the kitchen. I have lots of other kinds of salts, but I thought I would just try that and tell you that little thing that I learned from a podcast, one of the many ones that I listen to lately. Alright, so here comes the messy business. Now, I'm going to fill this bag by doing this. This is how I do it when I'm alone. So I'm probably not going to fill it all the way. At this part right here, if you had an ice cream machine, like we do, but we're not going to do it this way, as I said earlier, you would take this mixture and you would put it in the ice cream machine. It would freeze pretty quick because that hard, like coconut, will turn hard right away when it gets cold. All right, so now I got the piping bag. Now I'm just going to make Paleo Pops. And our good friend Tom gave us these things a couple years ago, but he really wanted us to make a popsicle business, but we ended up doing an ice cream business instead. Always cut the tip off of your piping bag over a trash can, never around your food. You don't want to get it in there, that little extra. And all I'm doing is filling these up. Now you could just take a spoon and do it, but I find like if you're doing this, it's easier to do with a piping bag. Same thing with making deviled eggs. If you don't have a piping bag at home, you can use a plastic bag and do the same thing and just cut the tip off. But you can see it's just a lot easier to handle than trying to put a spoon down in there. And I cut the hole big enough that the coconut is coming through. The coconut little shredded parts. And I wish I had done one of these to show you, but instead I have some ice cream to show you. Now, this done product, it does not taste sweet, but it's delightful. It's the same kind of reaction you get when you have really dark chocolate, although there's not really that much chocolate in here. There's a lot of fat, there's a lot of nut butter, and yummy coconut and salt. So, also, one of the things that I should say is that I already knew what I wanted in this recipe, but if you were making your own recipe at home, when you get to this part, when it's just laying in the bowl, when it's ice cream, you can taste it then, and it's going to give you a really good indication of what it's going to taste like when it's frozen. So, this is like, has a really strong hazelnut flavor to it, which I like. But say you didn't like that, you could add more milk, or you could add more something to it. So there you go. That's pretty much the end of it. We got to put our tops on. Stick these suckers in the freezer. Wait till tomorrow, until they're frozen, and pop them out and eat them. I'm taking these home for myself. So thank you very much. And that was Paleo Pops by Jenny here at Hedonist Chocolates and Ice Cream. Thanks.